welcome to episode 33 of SOHO Insights.
Where each week we talk about the latest products, services, and trends that help your small office, home office business be more productive, efficient, and fun.
Hello, I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jen, and this week's episode is on a celebrity, person, or brand. And drum roll, it is on...
Ivanka
That was
Trump.
a really lame drum roll. It's on Ivanka Trump. And
Ivanka.
So we're going to be talking about first kind of what the history is of the Trump empire and Ivanka Trump and why she's in the news recently, which I'm sure a lot of you know. She had a baby.
No, I bet they don't.
And then we'll talk about how we can apply what made her successful in our own small office, home office businesses. And in the past, we do these once a month where it's on a person or a brand, and we've done it on Groupon, we've done it on Allie Brown. The last one was on
Seth Godin. And see, her picks are Ivanka Trump and Allie Brown, and we're going to do Bethany soon. Mine would be on Seth Godin and Jeff Bezos.
Smart people stuff.
No, just on...
I like the fun and fluffy type people. Whatever.
The fluffy ones are fun, too.
They are fun.
Mm-hmm. I looked up Ivanka, and she's very interesting. And
she is. She's very interesting. I've been reading her book on Audible, of course, when I take my walks around the lake with the baby.
We need to have them sponsor us.
I know. I've turned so many people onto Audible. It really is the solution to moms, especially who don't have time to read, or even business owners. If you're at the gym, listen to Audible. But anyway, so I've been listening to her book, which is called The Trump Card, and I got it on Audible. Yeah, the only bummer is, and I can't stand this, that she, and I apologize, Ivanka Trump, because I know you're watching this. I don't like it when people don't read their own book on audiobooks.
She's not reading her own book?
She doesn't read her own book, and I just got...
Is Bethany?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. That's why I really like Bethany's book on Audible. But in 4-Hour Work Week, I've never really read that book through its entirety, and so I decided to do it on audio. I couldn't read it because the guy narrating it was not the guy that wrote it.
I like the author,
so it bugs me. But the girl that narrates her book is sounds a little bit like her, so it was fine. You kind of forget about it after a while. But anyway, so I've been reading her book, The Trump Card, and it's great. It's definitely a different business book because it's such a different person who grew up in the land of opportunity type of a thing. So
yeah, it's us and them, same old stuff. Family business,
same old stuff.
Yeah, definitely. The helicopters, the yachts. We took our yacht out.
Oh, we have a picture of it too. I put a picture in it. It's the boat. Yeah.
Little Kelly.
Yeah.
And Grampy.
Yeah. So we,
He's driving the boat.
I think you told Carissa over Twitter that we're going to be having a company party on the boat soon. Sounds good. So anyway, it is a nice kind of side parallel type thing that it's family businesses, and we are a family business, women majority owned, which is not true of the Trump organization.
Not at all. And that's what makes it a little interesting with
but
Ivanka.
See, also, another new parallel that I just thought of was that the hosting industry is most of you probably know, very male-oriented. A lot of male people at the heads of the boards and CEOs. Basically. And the one most notable hosting company that most of you know of is GoDaddy. And as you know, the CEO is...
not one I want to... That one will not be
not
on
exactly
our show.
A feminist. So anyway, that is some nice parallels between the two companies. And you wanted to tell them a little bit about what you found out about the Trump organization?
No, what she does.
Okay.
She is actually... And you told me, too, that she's the youngest VP. Right? Did you say
at
that?
the time, whenever she was reading the book, she said that she was 24 years old when she became a VP at the Trump organization.
See, I mean, a lot of similar things
I
with
was
you.
Not a VP. That's hilarious.
Okay, and then she's, which I thought was interesting, is she's bringing the Trump Hotel Collection brand to the global market, which that's another great income for them, is, all the... designing.
Hotels and stuff.
Yes. All right. So works with designers on interiors with all the Trump hotels. So she's kind of the pretty person. She brings in a lot of prettiness.
It's interesting that you say that because she talks about in her book how her mother, Ivana, her parents are Donald and Ivana Trump, and she
her
said
name
that
is Ivanka?
yeah.
Ivana.
Yeah, didn't you grow up in the age where it was, or not really grow
Ivana.
up, but you raised us during their whole divorce and everything like that? But
Yes.
anyway, so Ivana Trump was the one that I think did a lot of the interior design work within their first notable properties.
Interesting.
So it's interesting that she's doing that.
And then she's got Principal. Oh, yes.
But yeah, this is her book, The Trump Card, Playing to Win in Work and Life, and that's it on Audible. So
I like her
definitely check it out.
website, which I'm going to say now is the Principal of Ivanka Trump Jewelry. And her picture on there is, I don't know, do you have it?
Yeah, I have a couple photos on there.
It's really
There's
pretty.
a couple. She does a really good job with
Yes.
personal branding. We'll talk about that when we go through her list of things to do. We
She's
actually have 10 items. You're going to want to pay attention to this to apply to your business.
And then she's a media personality. She's on all sorts of news channels, and she's been on Oprah.
When you say media personality, what do you mean?
She does a lot of interviews, basically.
And she's on The Apprentice.
Oh yeah, that's right. It doesn't say that, but yes, she was on The Apprentice.
That's her.
That
her
one, I
personal
like that.
brand
I think
website,
that's cute.
I saw a photo of her. I think it was in Us Weekly. It was all for research, people. She
Sure.
She was wearing like bunny ears on a deck when she was pregnant.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, she was a former model. So
Yeah,
you didn't?
she's
Did you say
beautiful.
that she was a former model?
No, she's a former model. Mm-hmm. Okay.
What else?
And then what I thought was very interesting is she is now the spokesperson for the UN Foundation's Girl Up
I
Initiative.
heard a lot about Girl Up.
I like that, and I think you should be involved with that
We'll
to
have to look
recruit
at it.
young women to support the UN programs, which you did a lot in college.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. So that was a little bit about her, and as we were saying, she's in the news recently because she did have her first child.
Yes, and I'm sure everyone knows that.
A little over a week ago. Her name is Arabella. Is that how you say it?
I forgot to
Arabella.
look at what
It was
her
funny
name was.
because I heard on a certain program today during lunch. Did you watch it during lunch?
No. Oh, yeah, I did.
About baby
Yeah.
names and how they're getting kind of weird right now. And so
Yeah.
hers
7?
hers isn't weird.
The Beckham's one in the middle, which I think is kind of
That was
unique.
her middle name,
Yes.
7, but there's
But
like
still.
meaning and everything. But anyway, okay, so she had the baby, and she reported on Twitter. If you look at her Twitter page, pull that up. Her first tweet of this little Twitter page is about how she snuck into the office today, only 10 days after the birth of her baby, which is funny because she's like, oh, separation anxiety, and I feel like a lot of moms would be like, oh my gosh, that's so soon. But I'm sure she's very well equipped with nannies,
And I'm
family.
sure the office is like down the
Yeah.
tower or stairs or
up
something.
an elevator
Yeah.
or around the corner or something like that. And plus, your baby sleeps so much. It's
During
so
that.
funny when
Enjoy
new
that
moms.
sleeping time.
I know new moms all the time ask me, what did that look like when you were working? Because you really don't know when you're a new mom. I had prepped for not being able to be in the business, but it's funny because I think I worked more than I've ever worked before when I first had Kelly.
Oh, you're working a lot now,
Because you slept
too.
all the time, and it was just kind of like you were by yourself. But anyway, so that's why she's been in the news recently, and it'll be interesting to see how her success pattern changes now that she has a child. But this is kind of coming in from what we've observed from her in the last 5 or so years, 6 years, I guess, of what has made her successful. And the first point, so we're going over 10 points. The first point is in confidence. And this was a big thing that she brought home in her book, was that her parents instilled confidence in her, and that with confidence you can set yourself apart from other people that are in the room, and it also helps based on if you're a young person or if you're a female.
Oh, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
We tried to do that with you. Similar, Okay.
So the second point is in PR, and I think this is a big point here. And it's not just with Ivanka Trump, but it's with the entire Trump organization, especially her father, Donald Trump. And I read an article over the weekend, and I killed myself trying to find the article
Everybody
today.
looking for it.
Everyone was looking for it, and it was on how Donald Trump's brand is more, it's worth more, his brand, the Trump name, is worth more than his actual development is, that side of the business.
Yes.
And that's because he's got his name on water bottles, etc. So he needs to make sure that brand stays in front of people and in an inexpensive and very
And I think Ivanka is
big
going to do
way.
a great great job.
Well, I feel like I know this is bad because I think she's very qualified for what she's in, for what she's doing, but I think a lot of the steps in her career has been more of a publicity stunt than anything. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's just in a way to validate her, because she worked for, and I have a screenshot of this too, Forest City. It's another development company, and she talks about in the book how it had a lot of similarities to what the Trump organization had, because they're a family business, and in their history it talked a lot about how their family, and if you look at their the corporate structure, there's a lot of the same names in there. But anyway, so it was very similar to her family, and she was told to do this by a mentor, and her father signed off on it. And the excuse was that it would validate you. You would go in, and if you exceeded, and she says you need to do better, her personal opinion is that she needs to do better than the norm, or to be better than just moderate, then she would be able to go into the Trump organization and be like, hey, cool. I'm good because I'm good, not because my father made me good.
Well, also with The Apprentice and the media stuff.
Yeah, but I distinctly remember watching the Today Show or something like that while I was in college, and they talked about how Ivanka Trump joined a company that was not a
you're
Trump
following
organization.
this person.
Yeah, so it was a big
Ivanka.
PR move, and then Donald Trump ran for president, or was thinking about running for president. So I think a lot of PR runs very, very thick through the Trump organization. And she mentioned, like, even his first property that he purchased by himself was a big deal because he wanted to make his name big. And I think that's kind of similar for what she's trying to do. And
the PR is pretty darn good, except for this little Donald Trump PR when he tried to run for president. I don't think that was perfect.
Well, the article said that it was actually pretty good that he did that. It made his brand.
Did it? Really?
Well, Wall Street Journal one.
Okay.
This was another article that I was able to find. So frustrating. But anyway, so PR is something that we need to use better in our business.
He did one of the things, either he was running or right before, he did that Oprah Winfrey show we all watched. And I know it was pretty popular. So I thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the third point is in drive, knowing what you want. And I love this part in the book where she says the part that most people make the mistake in when going into a negotiation is not knowing what you want. 9 times out of 10, someone goes to the table and doesn't know what they want, and that hurts them in the long run. But I think that can be said about life in general.
Everything.
Yeah, she knew what she wanted from a very early age, and a lot of that was because of what her parents instilled in her.
We instill the same things with you, don't we?
Yes, of course.
That's why you love Ivanka so much.
Yes. Okay. So knowing what you want is really important, and trying to figure that out, and it's really hard. And one of the things that I did recently, I forgot to tell you about this, was that I bought the Robin Fisher Roffer book. Do you remember that book? The brand.
Oh, yeah.
I'll include a link over at ovaleye.tv. There's this great book that we did as an exercise 3 years ago.
You bought it on Audible?
I didn't. No, I got it on iTunes, and so it's on my iPad.
Cool. I want that.
Because I lost the hard copy because we give out books all the time. We never give them back.
See,
I have
these
no
are
idea
the only books behind us that we have left.
I have no idea who we give them out to either. So if you have one of our books, keep it. It's okay.
Though I do want that everywhere on Ovaleye, because
I'll put a link over at ovaleye.tv, and maybe we'll do a book review over at ovaleye.com, because as far as figuring out what you want and what your personal brand should be about, that book is fantastic. Robin Fisher Roffer does a great job about it. And Robin Fisher Roffer, you should get in touch with us so we can talk to you. Maybe I'll call her.
I
should call her,
yes,
because she did a great job. So anyway,
that
brings us into our next point, number 4, which is personal branding. And this is a big thing within Ivanka Trump. I even read an article by her on one of my favorite blogs. And again, I'll include the link over at ovaleye.tv about personal branding. Beautiful. Yeah, but she's branded herself, and so that it's kind of the hard edge male, more business and construction, and then the other side is fashion and fun, because that's kind of what she grew up with. Yeah. So anyway, personal branding is something that she's done very well with, and that's something that we should apply in all of our own businesses.
The mentors, number 5.
Yeah.
Asking questions. I think that she has like top-notch mentors. Who are mentors?
Yeah. Well, so I told my mom this story. I'm listening to her book this morning, and I was on my walk with Kelly, and I swear I was on one street, and she was saying that she sat next to, or she went to a luncheon with Rupert Murdoch, and he was telling her about his days and how he went into the office on Sunday so he could prep for the week. And then the next block, I turned the corner, and it's probably the next chapter or so. And she was saying, this is bad, so don't read too much into this. But she said, be careful about what you text because you never know what kind of hackers can get into your cell phone.
News item.
So anyway, that was an interesting
But the
point.
mentors that she's had are like the best of the best.
Making sure you ask the right questions of the mentors, ask a lot of questions. So the next point is to learn how to hold a conversation.
Well, the one I liked about her is that her parents held a lot of cocktail parties, and they would always have her greet the guests, and that would make her be comfortable with talking to influential people,
adults,
and starting conversations. I thought that was an excellent idea.
Yeah, that's good. Practicing being able to hold a conversation by going to networking events, putting yourself in awkward putting yourself in awkward positions or uncomfortable positions is really good too.
I think that was my favorite one.
And I think you've told me to do that a lot. You always do that. If we're at a conference, Mom will go and talk to people that it's just kind of like you wouldn't normally go and talk to, and it makes me always feel really uncomfortable. But she enjoys it. So the next point is to...
yes, and by the way, she hits me when she's uncomfortable.
The next point is to focus. And she says this in her book, and you can see this in a lot of what she does, is that she not only focuses in business on a particular venture or a particular niche, whatever she's doing, but also just on your day-to-day tasks, making sure that whatever you are in, whatever you're doing at the moment, that you put all of your energy into it.
Number one, focus, focus, focus.
Yeah, but I think that's really hard for people my age. I don't know.
You better be focusing, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I think that's something that will prove really well for her when she's a mom now, because that's all you need to do. I mean, that's like total focus on business, but then you have to be like...
You're very focused, though, with Ovaleye.
So the 8th point is to capitalize on opportunities that are handed to you. And this is what her whole book is really about, is how it wasn't that she was just handed this, it was that she worked really hard with what she was handed, and that's why she's successful. And I think that goes for anything. I mean, you invited me into Ovaleye, and I could have just sat back.
Same as, look at we're the same as the Trump.
Same thing.
Gave you everything.
Yeah, so that's the Trump brands, by the way. You've got Ivanka Trump here, and
Ice.
also his Donald J. Trump.
What's Trump Ice?
The water.
Mm.
He has his own water. It was part of like the Apprentice show.
Oh, I did see that one.
Yeah, that's back when we watched.
Yes.
But I started watching a while ago, again, every once in a while.
Yeah, I did watch last season's.
So the next one is not number 9. We're on number 9. Be passionate, and that it sets you apart. And that this is something she said she learned a lot from her father. And I don't see it as striking as much, when you compare her to her dad.
Oh, he's
being passionate. He's incredibly passionate, but I think she's a little bit more subtle, just in front of the public. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe it's coming, like, how... Well, no, nobody will be like Donald Trump.
He's the Donald.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it sets you apart, having passion about what you're doing. And through her book, those are all of his books. And there's hers, the second one over. I think that definitely passion set her apart, in that she really loves construction, she loves development, and you could really hear that throughout her audiobook.
If you're working 7 days a week, you better love what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So the last point is to be present in your child's life, but don't hold to traditional standards. And in this, she talked a lot about this through the book, and the way that I explained it to my mother, I said alternative lifestyle or something like that. Mom said, back in my day, that would not mean the same thing.
Not the same thing.
So, anyway, being present in your child's life doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be home and playing games all the time. And she talked a lot about how her parents brought her onto the job site.
Well, they talked about this in Oprah, too, where he would probably helicopter into their games and whatever. But
making sure that he was always accessible was a big thing. Both of her parents, I guess, made her the number one priority.
They had a phone number that they could call.
Yeah, that's what she said. And also, you were saying in the Oprah thing that she and her brothers were taken on construction job sites and things like that.
Yes, always. He was always very welcoming. It's
entertainment.
This is definitely the way we run our business. Look at how they're That's pretty fun. I didn't see that picture.
Well, that's all of his entertainment and all of his shows, the pageants and everything like that. Yeah. But going back to the child stuff,
yes, we took
you took us everywhere in the store. Yes. Like we grew up in the music store, and we were able to. I think we even went and helped you decorate the store, and that's why the walls were orange.
Yes, and we constructed how we put our CDs in the. We did everything.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's a great point to be had, and something I'm definitely going to think about applying into our own business.
You did the karaoke parties with me too, and you danced and sang with all the kids. So yeah, it was fun.
So anyway,
Kenny did his things.
That was 10 points of how we can bring Ivanka Trump's success into our own small office, home office businesses.
Just like Ovaleye's, that's for sure.
Yeah, so definitely check out Ovaleye.com to find out more about our family-run, women majority-owned business.
This was a fun one, and this is Kathy and Jen with Ovaleye.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week on SOHO Listen.